price action is looking pretty damn ugly. What's going on, guys? It's GBP baby. Welcome back to another video. Hope everybody's doing well. Hopefully you've watched yesterday's video. If you haven't, do go check it out, and let's jump straight into things. So we're here on the daily on dollar, as you can see, and you can see we've had another down close day, trading still within this fair value gap, which I drew our attention to on Sunday. So you can see how we're floating around here. I don't like the fact that we're hanging around. It's not the nicest when price spends a lot of time in a certain area, so seeing this is a bit nerving and a little bit annoying, but nonetheless I do still have my eyes set on this imbalance which I drew our attention to in yesterday's video. So there's still potential for price to reach down into that moving into Wednesday. Let me double check what high impact news we do have tomorrow. Bear with me. And then we'll drop down to the 4 hour as well. So tomorrow we don't have any high impact news, but on Thursday we do, and we do on just Friday and Thursday we do. So with that in mind, tomorrow we'll probably see some more continued consolidation, but like I said in yesterday's video, this is the lowest I want to see price trade this week, ideally for me to remain with my bullish bias of wanting to see price trade on higher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that like so. And this is that imbalance. Again, I'm happy for price to tap into it, especially now that it's created relatively equal lows below here. So if you look just below here, this low, this low, this low, this low, these are all relatively equal lows. So there's going to be liquidity building up below there within this bullish order block. So I'm happy for price to dip down into that tomorrow. But after that, once it gets into this imbalance, I'll be looking very closely to see if we can reverse outside of that, and that could set us up for some nice setups. If we drop below this level, whole other story, and we'll probably start running for these lows. However, ideally that doesn't happen, just because, again, I don't think we're finished up here. So I'm waiting for that reversal. It's just, you can see we're consolidating a lot, and it's taking its time to actually get that manipulation in, which I'm expecting. So yeah, not much has changed since yesterday. Interesting day, we traded higher, wicked into this fair value gap. Then since then, we've just been consolidating, a lot of back and forth price action. Again, consolidation. What is consolidation? Consolidation is the build up of orders. Is it buy orders or sell orders? Well, we have a bullish bias, so we're hoping that it's buy orders that's accumulating right now. Again, with the expectation that we can maybe run these stops and then reverse out of it. But yeah, we just have to wait and see. Definitely go watch yesterday's video if you haven't for more explanation, because I'm pretty much saying everything I was yesterday. But what I will do is I will draw our attention to this south side liquidity pool, just because it's very clear to us now, because these relative equal lows are very likely going to get ran. Like, I'll be very surprised if it left them there, or if it doesn't get ran this week, then price will probably target it in the next few weeks. But generally speaking, as far as I'm concerned, this liquidity should get grabbed, and then we should be able to pull out of it on the buy side ideally. And again, I spoke about this yesterday, this is a breaker, low, high, lower low. So again, once price drops down into there, I'll be looking very closely and see, does it react? And if it does, then we're in for a nice setup. If not, then we're clearly wrong, and we simply just let price do its thing. So that's really all I'm looking for right now. So yeah, there's not really much more I want to talk about. This consolidation is disgusting, so do bear that in mind. And I wouldn't really be looking for any setups until we've taken out sell stops until below this liquidity, and until we trade to this. I'm happy. I want to see us trade into it, because the reaction away from it is what's going to tell us everything, and the time of day. So if we trade into this, say at 8:30 tomorrow, and we get a reversal, that would be absolutely perfect for me, especially because I could just jump into the pairs and then start shorting the pairs with the expectation that dollar will be able to climb and run for these highs and these highs. So like I said, this movement down that we're seeing from Monday to Wednesday, I'm seeing this all as manipulation, because I want to see an up close week. So I'm happy for this. It's just, it's got a very funny way of doing it. And again, this is all time dilation to drive us insane, because look at this. You don't want to be trading in this condition. It's very high resistance. We want low resistance. We want to see movement and price running. So that's what I'm waiting on right now. But again, we're just going to have to wait for Wednesday to trade. So there's not really much more for me to say there. Let's head on to GBP USD. We will jump onto the daily first. And quite an interesting day on pound. So we traded lower and wicked right back up, closing just above not closing above yesterday's high, but taking out both yesterday's high. So we grabbed buy stops from Monday's high, and this is a inversion fair value gap, which I spoke about from the weekly, I believe. Yes. So again, I spoke about this in yesterday's video. I'm happy for price to trade into it and do what it needs, but generally speaking, I'm expecting price to want to turn away from it. This is interesting, isn't it? 25% level off this wick. Look at how we're respecting that, right? Wow. Currently we're trading into it, but my point is it's a significant price level. So yeah, a lot of back and forth on pound as well. Again, I've spoke about this yesterday. the fact that this high right here has been ran by this only very, very slightly. I'm going to talk about this. So this, if you look at the high, look up here, and you look at the H. The high of this is 1.27203, and the high of this is 1.27201. So by 2 like pips or whatever you want to call it, I forgot what they're called. But this high has been tagged. So as far as I'm concerned, price shouldn't need to come back up here, because that's like mitigation to me. If it was to go above there, it would be very interesting to me. But I am going to be looking at that range in general. So if we drag out this range, like so, this 4-hour range, this should act as a rejection block. So I'm happy for price to tap into there, because there are highs here, there's highs here, so there's going to be liquidity up here. I'm happy for price to trade into that, but ideally price should at least trade back above it if we are to remain bearish. Now, if we're not bearish, then it will trade through it, simple as. But I want to see price trade lower, so ideally price will only trade to the at the very most 50% off that. And then after that, I'd want to continue to see this kind of downwards price action, with price pushing towards our discount PD arrays, which I drew our attention to earlier this week. So let's go to the 1 hour. Let me just turn Alexa, turn the heater off. Excuse me. And then you can see how we traded down. And this is the Sunday opening. And look at how we traded right down into that this morning, and then came off of it again. So this is why the Sunday open price is so important, because the fact that we're still above it and we're moving into Wednesday and we're still above it, it's usually suggestive to me that we're probably going to run for it moving into Thursday and Friday. So I usually just keep that out, because the fact that we're still above it and we're expecting a down close week, it will use it as targeting. You'll also notice that I've drawn out some specific highs and lows. So we've got this high, we've got this high now, and we've got these lows. And look at the relative equal lows we have below here. Again, I would love to see price trade through that, but I'm happy for it to rally first. And you can see we've got daily highs here and here, and price loves daily highs. It eats them. Price eats daily highs for lunch. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw rallying moving into tomorrow, again into our range. I don't want to see it take out this high. It can do it. I'm not saying it's not going to, but I'd rather it not. I'm happy for it to take out these highs, but then I'd want to see a reversal, and then it would start targeting Tuesday's lows and Monday's lows where there's relative, and then Friday's lows. But this is all assuming that dollar does as we're expecting. Over here, again, I'm happy for price to drop down, but I want to see a turn. And if not, then I'm just simply not going to trade it. But if all goes well, then we could be in for quite a nice week in general in terms of setups and whatnot. We just have to be patient with it and allow price to take out these highs. Again, from Sunday, we haven't taken out any buy side or sell side liquidity. So we created a low, we created a high, and we haven't taken out any side of the market yet. So again, I'm happy for price to run, take out that buy side, and then come down for that sell side. But again, any higher than this, and I will be suspicious. If we don't manage to take out this high, I will talk about this consolidation, because I spoke about that in yesterday's video. I will speak about that a little bit more, and talk about breakaway gaps, because that would be a perfect example, assuming we don't take out this high. If we do, then God bless. But you know, that is what I'm looking at right now, I'm paying attention to in general. So we're going to finish up on Euro USD. Euro's been messing about. Let's go to the daily. I'm not sure what these are. Can't remember, guys. Oh yes, I was drawing the volume of this bearish order block, and I was saying I'm happy for price to tap into that. So same thing, I'm happy for price to run up into there, but I expect a reaction, and 50% should be the very highest we trade to for us to still be bearish. Now what you'll find with Euro is that we're pushing on higher, like so. And if we add GBP, I'll show you. GBP is pushing on lower, because GBP is weak as weak as fuck. And then we got dollar as well. You'll see that dollar is moving lower. So Euro and dollar are in line. GBP is telling us something here, because it's not willing to, move in line with the dollar. Now, don't get me wrong. This could be a matter of Euro pushing up aggressively higher and running right through these highs on the back of news. But as far as I'm concerned, dollar's still got some business to do up here. So I wouldn't be surprised if like I said, GBP's hinting and saying, look, we want to trade lower. We're refusing to trade higher for a reason. And then we're going to see Euro snap into place and aggressively trade lower. So this is divergence. It is something I need to still study, because it is confusing. But when it's to this extent and you're expecting lower prices, you just have to stick with your bias, because my bias isn't the divergence isn't giving me my bias. It's the higher time frames, and I explained all that on Sunday as to why I want to see GBP trade lower and why I want to see dollar trade higher. But it's difficult when you're seeing, obviously, dollar just straight on falling lower. But just imagine how many people are going short thinking that dollar's going to drop off right now. You know, you got to think about these things. And also, if we are getting an up close week, we expect manipulation. We expect price to drop between Monday and Wednesday, and then to get a reversal. So that's why I'm allowing us to trade into this bullish order block. Got my eyes on it. But once it gets below that, it starts getting a bit crazy, then I'll be a little bit more suspicious. But for now, we'll get rid of this. And again, I'm watching this bearish order block, because if we are bearish, price will respect it and simply turn around. That's it. And it will start running for these lows, these lows, these lows, and these lows. But if we trade through it, I'm wrong. It is what it is, and price will continue to trade on higher, and we might be able to get in on Thursday, late on Thursday, and maybe on Friday, and get in on the move. That's what I'm saying. So it's not the end of the world. It's just, we just have to we just got to let it trade. So anyway, you can see how we're messing about in this range. What is this blue box? This is a daily PD array. Yeah, it's a daily fair value gap. Right, cool. So we're messing about on it. It's quite a weak fair value gap. Why? Because we're trading in and out of it multiple times. So once we're above it, although it should act bullishly, it might not, because, you know, it's being used so much, as in it's being traded through, it's been ran through. It's going to be weak. Whether that's an actual term or not, whole other story. I've never really used such an analogy, but I have noticed that. But generally speaking, same thing. I'm happy for price to wick up, grab stops, but I want to see price drop again, especially with relative equal lows below here. All of these lows down here, this is all the south side liquidity that I doubt price is just going to leave up there. And again, if you look at how high resistance this is, so although we've moved from this point up to this point, look at how hard it was to get there. You know, this is high resistance. So if we're seeing high resistance on the upside of the curve, it probably means that we're still bearish, because it shouldn't have that much difficulty getting from this point to this point. Whereas when you look at moves of the same distance from this point to say this point, it was a lot smoother, you know. So we're seeing the resistance. Same here. Look, from this point to this point, look at that resistance. But from this point to this point, it's a lot easier. So this is this high resistance versus low resistance. And don't get me wrong, I could be completely wrong. Tomorrow could go off the charts, run up higher, and everything I said doesn't make sense, and that's fine. But my point is, we need to take these things into account, and we'll talk more on it if price does play out as I'm expecting. But yeah, high resistance, and that's what I'm saying. You can see it on dollar as well. From dollar's point here to this point, this is ridiculous. It doesn't want to go down there. And like I said, we're consolidating in these areas, which is why I believe that they're accumulating to redistribute higher. But we'll have to see. Again, this is the lowest I want to see price trade. Any lower, I'm not involved. And I didn't say anything. But yeah. So that's going to be everything, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like, drop a comment, smash subscribe, join the mailing list, join the Discord. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Hope you found this insightful. Peace.